Chapter 7, Mishnah 4. This Mishnah discusses a number of cases where two people make a deal to help each other prepare mechatas. The Mishnah's laws are based on the fact that doing an unrelated activity disqualifies a person's water only if he does the activity in between the time his water is drawn from the spring and the time it is sanctified with ashes. In the first case, each person has filled his own barrel with spring water, but neither barrel has been sanctified with ashes. If one person says to another, "Sanctify my barrel for me, and then I will sanctify your barrel for you," the first barrel to be sanctified is valid, since its owner did not do any unrelated activity before it was sanctified. However, the second barrel is not valid, since its owner performed an unrelated activity, sanctifying his friend's barrel, before his own was sanctified. In the next case, two people make a deal before they fill their barrels with spring water. If one person says to another, "Fill a barrel with water for me, and then I will fill a barrel for you," the last barrel to be filled is valid, since its owner did not do any unrelated activity after his barrel was filled. However, the barrel that was filled first is not valid, since its owner performed an unrelated activity, filling his friend's barrel, after his own was filled. In the next case, one person has filled his barrel with spring water, but the other person has not. If one person says to another, "Sanctify my barrel of water with ashes for me, and then I will fill a barrel of water for you," both barrels are valid. Although each person performed an unrelated activity, one sanctified his friend's barrel, and the other filled his friend's barrel, neither performed an unrelated activity in between the time his own barrel was filled and the time it was sanctified. First, one person sanctified his friend's barrel, but his own barrel had not yet been filled. Then the other person filled his friend's barrel, but his own barrel had already been sanctified. Thus, both barrels are valid. The next case is the reverse of the previous one. Here, too, one person has already filled his barrel with spring water, but the other person has not. If one person says to another, "Fill a barrel with water for me, and then I will sanctify your barrel of water with ashes for you," both barrels are disqualified. In this case, each person performed an unrelated activity in between the time of his own barrel, in the time his own barrel was filled and when it was sanctified. First, one person filled his friend's barrel. Since his own barrel had already been filled, it became disqualified when he filled his friend's barrel. Then the other person sanctified his friend's barrel, but his own barrel had by now been filled, and thus became disqualified when he sanctified his friend's barrel.